Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Takoma Park. Thank you. We are thrilled to be hosting the second annual Montgomery County GreenFest and to welcome all of you, residents, activists, experts, and our elected officials here today. And I want to extend a special thank you to Gina McCarthy for being our keynote speaker and visiting our city today. GreenFest is made possible by a committee of partners, combining their resources and expertise to help create a more sustainable community and region. Today is a terrific example of what we can accomplish when we all work together. And I have the honor this morning to thank all the people who have made GreenFest possible today. The planning committee included Montgomery County Department of Environmental Protection, the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, Montgomery County Department of Parks, the 4 green communities, Green Wheaton, Poolsville Green, Bethesda Green, and Silver Spring Green, Montgomery County Public Schools, Montgomery College, the cities of Gaithersburg and Rockville, and the University of Maryland Extension. I'd also like to thank our staff here in Takoma Park, particularly our sustainability manager, Gina Matthias, and the workers and our staff in our Public Works Department for putting this all together and making us look real pretty today for all of you. Thank you. So as many of you may or may not know, back in the late 1800s when people first started founding Takoma Park, we were one of the first railroad accessible suburbs in the DC area. And people came here to escape crowding, pollution in downtown DC. So they came for our clean air, our natural springs, and to enjoy the natural environment. And today, Takoma Park is home to residents who care deeply about the environment and to maintain our natural beauty that attracted people first here. And they turned that concern into action. So in Takoma Park, we like to pioneer new programs. From the early days of recycling to our tree protection laws, to newer efforts, including being one of the first in the country to ban pesticides for cosmetic lawn care, ban all forms of polystyrene food serviceware, and offer curbside food waste collection. And we're continuing this tradition with our current City Council as we hopefully will work towards an outright ban on plastic bags soon. I'd also like to point out that in Takoma Park, our activists start really young. And so the fact that we have the polystyrene food serviceware ban is thanks to our Young Activist Club. Now, high school sophomores, these young people started their crusade to ban polystyrene when they were just in 3rd grade at Piney Branch Elementary School. So. But you know, in Takoma Park, we don't like just to ban things. We like to have fun, and we're a bit competitive here in the city. So we work hard to provide educational and fun opportunities for residents, such as our recent Neighborhood Energy Challenge and our Green Home Certification Program. And today, after our opening, I will be awarding a $2,000 prize for the team that did the most to save energy at home. And I welcome any of the officials who would like to stay and help me hand out awards to do that right after our opening. We also offer encouragement to residents to save energy through grants and rebates that fund improvement work, because we want to make sure that energy efficiency is something all our residents can afford. We are increasing the number of bike share stations and improving sidewalks in the city, making it easier for residents to get around without using a car. The city works hard to improve municipal operations and has 2 LEED certified facilities, a green roof, solar panels on our city buildings, a gray water system, many stormwater projects, a fleet of hybrid cars that is evolving to include all electric vehicles and even bicycles. And our newest addition is 14 public electric vehicle charging stations throughout the city that we just finished installing this week. So I think you can tell I'm a rather proud mayor of what we're doing here in Takoma Park, and I could go on, but I actually crossed out a couple of paragraphs because we want to make sure everyone has a chance to speak and you have a chance to enjoy the day. So I just want to thank you again for coming to GreenFest and welcoming you to Takoma Park. And now I will turn it over to Lisa Feldt, the Director of the Montgomery County Department of Environmental Protection. Thank you very much.
Morning, everybody. How is everybody? It's wonderful seeing you all and seeing some familiar faces. I'm a year and 4 months into the job, and when we had GreenFest last year, I was just a few months into the job, and it's amazing how much I've learned about all the good work that goes on, not only in Takoma Park, but throughout Montgomery County. I have the pleasure of emceeing this today. I want to first, though, thank all my DEP staff, and I see many of you here, and I know you'll be here throughout the day. I know this takes a lot of work, and I really appreciate day in and day out all the work you do, so thank you very much. So first of all, let me introduce, it is my pleasure to introduce my current boss, County Executive Ike Leggett.
Thank you so very much. I'm really delighted to be here. As goes Takoma Park, so goes Montgomery County, so goes the rest of the state, and in many ways, so goes the nation, because a couple of years ago, and internationally, I was invited to the UN to talk about much of the sustainability that we are achieving here in Montgomery County. And in many ways, it really started right here in Takoma Park. So thank you. So when you think of all the people for all the things that Montgomery County is in fact engaged in, much of it starts right here. I remember years and years ago when we were looking to enhance recycling in Montgomery County. And we had this objective that we had started literally at 25–30% recycling when I was on the county council and leading that effort. But the residents of Takoma Park said we should do more. And so we went all the way up at that time to this grand number of 50% by 2000. And we wrote that into the law. And believe it or not, a couple of years ago, we not only reached 50%, we've exceeded it, and we've now set a standard of 70% by 2020. That's a remarkable standard. But we have our work out for us. The challenges are still there. And we need to work on many other portions of the state of Maryland. A few years ago, and I led the effort on the bag tax, we did get some reaction. I thought it was a thing to do, not only for Montgomery County, but really for the state of Maryland and for our region as a whole. And we really followed the lead in the District of Columbia. But I happen to live in the Tri-County area, right at the intersection of Prince George's County, Howard County, and Montgomery County. And a week or so after the law went into effect, I was at my local Giant and going through the checkout line. And there was a person in front of me and 2 people behind me. So I was sort of trapped in the line. And I heard the teller say to the person, "No, it's not 5%, it's 5 cents. And she was repeating that over and over and over again. And she looked and she saw me in the line. She said, That's the guy right there. You need to blame for that. Now, here I'm trapped. I couldn't go back. I couldn't go forward. So we do have our work cut out for us. But you set a standard for us, a standard that in many ways you see reflected on our county council, that reflects in so many of the work that it does, so much of what we do around this state and nation in our General Assembly. But it all starts and it all works because of you. And so do not remove that effort from what is happening today, that the residents of Montgomery County, and especially here in Takoma Park, have been such strong supporters of the environmental efforts of Montgomery County. And Mr. Administrator, this is a unique community, and one that we're especially proud of, and one that we know will continue to establish the standards for all of us. So I want to thank Lisa and all of those responsible for today. We look forward to a continuation of this effort to continue to put Montgomery County at the forefront of the environmental movement. Thank you and congratulations.
I just want to echo the leadership of County Executive Leggett to my department. He provides invaluable support and leadership to making sure we continue to have a cleaner, greener, economically vibrant community. So thank you, Mr. Leggett. So now it's with great pleasure, and I thank them too for their leadership in the environmental movement. I spend a lot of time with these esteemed council members here that are on the stage, but I would like to introduce the president of Montgomery County Council, Nancy Floreen.
Thanks a lot, Lisa, and good morning, Takoma Park. I bring you greetings from your sister city, the leafy, transit-oriented Garrett Park, also established along a railroad line and intended to be suburbia and a respite from the burdens of the District of Columbia. And I've got to say, you know, ordinarily I come to this stuff and I say on behalf of the county council, well, I don't need to do that because we're all in, as you know. Of course, you're very well represented on the county council as well. That helps, but as you know, I and my colleagues have been doing all we could to advance the green initiatives that many of them have started here. I'm especially proud of something I invented ways back, which is the Green Business Certification Program, which is designed to sort of build into our bloodstream and our business community and how we live a support for businesses that are taking the chance, at that point, this was in 2008, taking the chance and trying to do business differently. And we've made tremendous progress in that regard, and the incubators have built on that, and I know my colleagues will talk about the great things we've been able to do in the county council. I really want to compliment you, though. You were talking about, you know, how it really comes up here from the kids and your high school extravaganza. Just note, we got some young people in the room here. It's a really cool, interactive sustainability session you've got planned today. That is great. That's who we are as Montgomery County. You train your kids to be your kids learn who we are as a people. We see a lot of them at the County Council public hearings now, which I think is great, and with tremendous advocacy skills that they're going to bring with them throughout their lifetime. So, you know, they've learned from all the adults in the room who started out way back when doing the Lord's work in this environment. And you should be really, really proud of the kind of community and the kind of leadership that you have developed for all of Montgomery County. And we're all benefiting. And you're going to hear some more from my colleagues in a sec about all their initiatives, certainly in energy, pesticides following your lead, and really making Montgomery County the place that everyone wants to be. And it's really a treat to have the head of the EPA here today to learn from us what we can do. Thank you.
All right, I know we are all anxious to get to our guest keynote speaker, but I'd like to give the head of the Transportation, Environment, and Infrastructure Committee, who I definitely spend a lot of time with and enjoy it thoroughly, Roger Berliner.
Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all you've contributed to our county's sustainability effort. I really do want to thank our EPA administrator for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have her here. Our nation is so much better off by virtue of the work she does every day. Our president made such a great decision in bringing her to the head of this agency, and their clean power plan is going to revolutionize this country and move us closer to solar, a greener planet. We thank you for being here and everything you've done. And we thank you for giving us Lisa Feldt as our.
I didn't mean to.
I understand. But we thank you anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a sort of day to brag about your accomplishments and our county's accomplishments, because we have a lot to be proud of. We have the strongest stormwater permit in the state, one of the strongest stormwater permits in the United States of America. It's a big deal, a big deal. We're buying 100% as a county clean power, thanks to Mr. Riemer's work as well. Okay, 100%. Our county government is carbon neutral, all right? That's a big deal, okay? We were the first county in the country to have a green bank, okay? No other county has set up a green bank. We will have a green bank that provides wedge financing to promote more greener, solar, everything, and it's going to be a big deal. We're the first county in the country to have required benchmarking of energy consumption. So if you combine looking at how much energy you consume and then have financial means to retrofit your buildings, we are going to reduce energy consumption in our county, and that's a big deal. We doubled our residential solar permits last year, and we're on pace to doubling residential solar permits this year. Montgomery County people, we do love solar, and we're putting solar on our landfill, okay? We're going to generate 5 megawatts of power from a solar facility on top of a landfill. We are one of the leaders in the country in moving away from crumb rubber artificial turf to organic infill, okay? Italian cork, who would have thought, right? Those of us that enjoy wine, this is a good thing, okay? Okay, this is a good thing. We're about to adopt the International Green Construction Code in our county. We've adopted one of the first residential PACE programs and commercial PACE programs where we use property taxes as a way to finance improvements in our homes and in our businesses. So, ladies and gentlemen, our county executive, my colleagues, Mr. Leventhal, who I know will speak to, led our county to be the first major jurisdiction in the United States on pesticides. Really, give it up for Mr. Leventhal. Again, following your lead. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to celebrate, and of course, we have a lot of work to do. But we are committed to doing it together, and we thank you for everything you do.
So again, I would like to invite Councilmember Leventhal to come up and say a few words, and Councilman Riemer after that, please.
Thank you, Lisa, and congratulations on the great work that you and your staff have done in pulling us together to learn from each other, to work together. I've been a resident of Takoma Park for more than 30 years, and it's a beautiful community, and even though we don't allow the cosmetic use of pesticides here in this town, I don't find that the lawns are overridden with weeds. It seems like it's still gorgeous, and I'm still proud to live here. And I've actually learned a great deal myself in our own yard about organic methods of lawn care. One of the people that I've learned the most from is here, our young entrepreneur, Zach Klein of AIR Lawn Care. He's going to be presenting later. I met Zach when he was in college, and he was one of our incubator businesses at Bethesda Green, whose executive director, Véronique Marier, is here. Bethesda Green is a great is a fast-growing nonprofit organization that brings together community leaders and businesses to do just exactly what we're doing here today, to learn from each other about best practices to support businesses that are sustainable and are promoting energy efficiency, smart environmental technologies. The Green Incubator that we have at Bethesda Green was the first in the state of Maryland, and we want to expand it because we want to foster more businesses like Zach Klein's business that not only do well, but also give us hope that we can have a planet that is perhaps safe and sustainable over the long run. We know we need to earn a living. We know we need to support our families, but we also need to do it in a way that's consistent with our values. That's really what Takoma Park has always been about. I think that's what Bethesda Green and the other green communities are trying to promote. I did just want to say a brief word about the pesticide law. I thank Councilmember Berliner for mentioning it. I want to acknowledge Julie Tadeo, who's here from Takoma Park, who led the Safe Grow movement, which I just love to call one of the most effective grassroots organizations around. We did take on the pesticide lobby. They were very aggrieved by it. There's a national organization called RISE, which is primarily funded by Monsanto, which put out a lot of talking points against the bill, which twisted arms very hard, but they only were able to generate about a fifth as many communications to the county council as my excellent, effective friends in the Safe Grow movement. It was very clear when we followed Takoma Park's example and when we passed the cosmetic pesticide ban countywide, that overwhelmingly it was what the people of Montgomery County wanted us to do. We heard from, on a 5-to-1 ratio, county residents in favor of the law. Although the law, you know, it was controversial, it did not pass unanimously, but it was the right thing to do, and we're going to apply these methods and, again, learn from each other. We're going to take the opportunity today to apply these methods and these sustainable principles in our own lives. It's great to be here. It's great to be a supporter of these efforts. All of these ideas, whether it's the Green Buildings Law that I passed in 2006, our efforts to improve it through the International Green Buildings Code, the pesticide law, all of these ideas come from my constituents. So all of us here, Council President Floreen, Council Vice President Berliner, Councilmember Riemer, and I, we want to hear from you. We want to get your good suggestions as how we can continue to move forward, and County Executive Leggett, in sustainable public policy for the long term. Thank you for letting me give these remarks.
So given that we're running behind time, Councilman Riemer has ceded his spot to give the administrator a bit more time. But I wanted to recognize Councilman Riemer for his efforts in the polystyrene ban that we just put in place. Thank you very much. And he has been a champion in the Tree Montgomery program. And just to give a plug, we planted over 500 trees this year, our first year. Thank you. Thank you for your leadership. So I also wanted to recognize here today from Congressman Van Hollen's office. I was going to say something else, but not quite yet. And is represented by Ashima Talwar. Please stand up and wave. Thank you for coming again. And staff from Mark Elrich's office here too. Please raise your hand. Thank you for coming. All right. And I'd like to take a few minutes now to introduce the Maryland State Senator Jamie Raskin from this district. He had a fun week, right? And he has worked so hard and successfully to pass strong environmental legislation at the state level on behalf of Montgomery County, including increasing the renewable energy standards in Maryland's energy portfolio, the Greenhouse Gas Emissions Reduction Act, which this year set a goal of reducing gas emissions 40% by 2030, the Green Maryland Act, which requires state agencies and departments to use, among other things, composting and green purchasing, and so much more. So thank you for your leadership, and look forward to many more years of leadership.
Hey, good morning, Takoma Park, and good morning, Montgomery County. I noticed we've got some of our Takoma Park Council people here, Peter Kovar, Terry Siemens, and I don't know if the other council members are here, but thank you guys for all of your leadership. Our great county executive said, as goes Takoma Park, so goes Montgomery County, and thank God for that, you know. But I'm thrilled to be with everybody. This is just really exciting to see the incredible profusion and proliferation of green ideas, green businesses, green projects, green policies. This is obviously what the world needs. President Obama went over to Paris. They had 190 countries there they made pledges to engage in dramatic reductions of greenhouse gas emissions, but then everybody went home and they said, what are we going to do? And it all starts at the local level. It all starts at the local level. And you know, Montgomery County, Takoma Park, Silver Spring, Bethesda are such models, national models for how to do this. And the environmental movement that we need to save the species, to save the earth, is a movement that implies a particular kind of politics, which we have been leading on with the reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, with the investment in renewable energies and solar and wind and other new energies. It implies an economics where we are breaking from the carbon paradigm and moving into lots of market competition with green businesses, and it implies perhaps above all a certain kind of culture, and that's a culture of direct engagement and participation where people get out and break away from the automobiles and the shopping malls and get reinvested in the community, and nobody's doing that better than the people right here in Montgomery County. I'm thrilled to be with you guys today.
I also think we have a few more people from City Council, the Takoma Park City Council, that I'd like to recognize. Tim Mail, he's here. Yes? All right. Thank you. Thank you for coming. So really, it is my incredible pleasure to introduce my former boss, the Administrator Gina McCarthy. Gina and I first met in 2010 when we were working on some tough rules that had intersections between solid waste and air. You know, and I always say it's all connected, right? It is all connected. And I really, really admired her leadership, and then I had the privilege to work for her directly when she, in the second term of the President Obama, became administrator of EPA. And I am so thrilled to introduce Gina McCarthy and to have her spend time in this community. She started at the local level, so she knows what it's all about.
Happy GreenFest, everybody. You know, I'm from Boston, and I feel like I'm in Cambridge. What's the story here? You people are ridiculous. We need a competition. The world needs a competition. First of all, Lisa, just because I'm here, it doesn't mean that I'm not incredibly ticked off at you. Although, my loss is all of your gain, because you are not just an unbelievably good professional at managing environmental issues and finding solutions, but you're a really great person as well. So it's always been my honor to know you. I try to be a little meaner to her so that she'll come back to EPA. Would you mind doing that? But it is great to be here. You guys really do rock, and as Lisa indicated, I spent my first 11 years in government working at the local level. So Nancy, I know I got to do a lot of listening. It ain't about what EPA is doing. It's about what we're all doing together, and all the lovely EPA people that are sitting in the audience. Used to be's in some cases, and others that still are. But it really is great. And the good thing is, and I have a new motto for Montgomery County, and the motto has to be, what happens in Montgomery County doesn't stay in Montgomery County. It's true. It's true. So because anything that manages to make the slow crawl to Capitol Hill, I apologize, Senator, not you, I mean others, that makes that slow crawl has meant because it has had such fertile ground in our communities, right? Nothing makes its way there that's a great idea and that's really creative and that has an opportunity to make a lasting impact unless it has been proven time and time again at the local level. That is where all the ingenuity and the innovation begins. Then it makes its way up to the state when there's enough communities that are obnoxious that they're going to demand additional action, and so on and so on. So I have to congratulate you because I know that Senator Raskin mentioned Paris, and I always give tremendous credit to President Obama for what happened in Paris, and I think I should. I mean, it was his courage to stand up and talk about climate change as a moral responsibility. It was his conversation. Thank you. And it was, and he personally spent an enormous amount of his time talking to other large economies to make sure that when we went into Paris, for the first time, we had pledges on the table. So it wasn't about what are you going, how far are you going to go? It was how are we going to get there? And what is the level of accountability that's going to make these commitments last? And it was a huge change in that conversation. But frankly, none of that would have been possible had it not been for decades, literally decades, of innovation at the local level, driving solutions to the table. In counties like Montgomery County, you continue to push that envelope. And it is a remarkable thing to see how the world changes. And I look out in this audience and I know that most of you are not as old as I am. Lucky you guys. But having said that, with this length of time, my eyes see things that most of you have not seen before. And you didn't see rivers burning. You didn't see big smokestacks with black pouring out of them all the time. You didn't see people driving around, rolling their windows down like this, we used to do this, and tossing their litter out the window when they were done, right? The world has made remarkable progress. But please don't be fooled into thinking that we don't need to keep doing GreenFests to congratulate ourselves on on how far we've come given what used to be, but also remind ourselves that we need to keep driving the environmental movement forward. The challenges today are quieter, they are less visible, but they are no less damaging than those we faced before. In fact, many would argue that they're more insidious than they've been before. They are more challenging. But the great thing is that when you go outside and you look, and please do, you will see visions of what the future could look like. You will see solutions that you haven't seen before. And that's because of great communities like Takoma Park and great counties like Montgomery County that are not satisfied with where they are. They want to chart a vision for the future, and they're going to do it in a way that everybody else will sit up and take notice. And they have. So happy GreenFest, everybody. You deserve it. Now, I could spend probably another 15 or 20 minutes talking about all the things that are happening in Montgomery County. And in fact, I actually think Nancy and the mayor may have done that, actually, talking about all the things that they've done. But what I really want to talk about is all the work we need to do together, because Montgomery County is incredibly progressive and innovative. But I have to tell you, there's lots of communities that are not yet there. And we need to figure out how we continue to not let what happens in Montgomery County stay in Montgomery County. We need our voices to rise up. And it's happening, but we have a lot of work to do. Now, I need probably not say too much more than to tell you that next week I'm going with President Obama to Flint. Does that tell you we have work to do? It tells you that we are still fighting toxics that we knew were going to kill us in the time of Julius Caesar. And we're still trying to figure out how to address these problems, especially in communities that are challenged the most, where the most vulnerable people live, those that have been left behind through all of these national rules. We've all done really great, wonderful work, and I don't downplay that at all. But work needs to happen in those communities because they have been left behind. They're vulnerable when the economy is challenged. They happen to be the most vulnerable when climate change happens. And guess what? It's not when, it's happening now. You can see it every single day. You just need to get out of that telephone booth where other climate deniers hang out and open your eyes and see what's happening. So we have legacy challenges, but we have new ones that are coming up as well. Our core values, and that was mentioned, core values are what we have to cling on to and remember and think about. Since when is drinking water a luxury item that we might want to take care of after other things get done? Core drinking water, that is our core value. We expected 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, when we started down this road of delivering the best water anywhere in the world to people in this country, that we would continue to invest in that so it stayed that way. But we know from Flint we did not. And I will tell you there are new challenges in our water systems like PFOA and PFOS and pharmaceuticals that we need to get at today. That takes continued investment. Show us how it gets done, Montgomery County. Show every community how it can get done and remind us of our core values. Because whatever we invested in 70 years ago is not going to be the technologies of the future. But guess what? I just got back from California. So from California to Montgomery County, I'm a happy camper. I am home and then I'm home. In California, I went a couple of places. I went to a company called Solaria, and Nextracker. Now, if you don't know Solaria, it's been one of those companies that had figured out how to make solar so efficient that the price of solar now has gone down about 85% for solar panels that you put on your home, 85% over the past 6, 7, 8 years. Is that remarkable or what? Because now we have utility scale that are bidding into the market and they're competing against fossil fuels. Competing effectively in a market. That does not happen overnight. That would not have happened had this county and others driven the market because they expressed their core values and they invested in it. Then the market shifts over time. Then what happens in the United States is innovation happens. Young people realize that the fastest growing job economy in the United States happens to be the solar industry. It is growing 12 times faster than the next sector. This is the future. And when you send that signal to kids getting out of universities, they are going to run to be the next solar innovator. Wind now is incredibly marketable in a way that we never expected before. And you've got Nextracker, that, you know what Nextracker is doing? Solaria is now producing cells, solar cells, that actually gather the energy on both sides. They are no longer single-sided because they've realized that the solar energy reflects down, they can recapture it and increase the efficiency of those units. It's remarkable. And what Nextracker is doing is making utility scale incredibly more efficient, because when you lay out millions of these cells in an array, Nextracker automatically follows where the sun is going. And it moves those panels. It's no longer, okay, is this the right angle I'm putting on my house? It's like, ew, I'm gonna go like this. It is the coolest thing. And I followed that with a trip to Tesla. Now, I will first start by saying I'm not saying any company is better than any other. I will tell you that every one of the major automakers are making solar cars. Every single one of them. And they're getting better every year. And when you now have solar cars, zero-emission vehicles, that you can drive 250 miles, what's your excuse now? Right? What is the excuse now? Let's keep making them more affordable. And the remarkable thing is that the new Tesla that they've put out and asked for orders for, that's going to be available next year, they have 400,000 orders. Now, these are not just I'd like one. This is $1,000 and I'd like one. These are serious purchasers. That will more than double the amount of zero-emission vehicles that we have on our roads today. What kind of a market signal do you think that is? It's a big one. So we have the technologies of the future today. And guess what? They are the ones driving the economy moving forward. So while you guys think you're all really nice leaders, I know you're just economic magnets. You are just looking at the bottom line, not our core values, because you have figured out that the communities that are sustainable and that are environmentally progressive are the places that people want to live and people want to work and people want to invest in. That's the United States of America. That's the success story. So I have nothing more to say other than when I leave here, I'm going to talk about you like crazy. So don't do anything bad, because what stays here will not stay here. All right? Thank you, everybody.
I'm thinking about coming back. No, just kidding. I'm having too much fun here, and there's a lot of work that's happened, but there's a lot of work moving forward, and it is a great place to live, it's a great place to work, and it's a great place to play, so keep coming. So that concludes our opening ceremony. There are a whole host of activities available to you, all of you, and folks outside between now and 4. In this auditorium, beginning at soon, the Takoma Park Neighborhood Energy Awards will be presented. This will be followed by 2 feature films, as well as environmentally themed music videos created by the Montgomery County Public School students. The Keep Montgomery County Beautiful Awards will be presented at 1:30 at the Piney Branch Elementary School adjacent to this building. There's great entertainment, food, and over 80 exhibitors outside, lots of children and teen activities, and several workshops in this building, all designed to help you do your part for the environment. There's also, we heard some of this, an electric vehicle show, a nature photography walk, and so much more. We also have tons of entertainment throughout the day and food, and enjoy yourselves, enjoy your families, enjoy your friends, and enjoy the day. Thank you for coming.
Could we get, let's get a picture.